Charlotte Lawrence, welcome to Live from Bed. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy you're here.
Me too. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So we were talking because I have 2 dogs right now, you guys. I mean, maybe by the time this is out, I will have made a decision one way or the other whether to keep him or not. But I have 2 dogs right now. You guys know and love the Taco.
Can you see him on the camera?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. You can see him. Sweetest angel.
Ooh.
And I have Smokey, who's 2 and a black pug also, but a different vibe than Taco. I'm just not used to having a puppy. But I saw that you have 2 dogs.
I have 2 dogs.
So give me the advice. Did you get them at the same time?
No. So everybody thinks they're siblings. Like these 2, they look so much alike, but I rescued both of them. I got them a year apart from LaBelle Foundation.
Oh, I love LaBelle.
Winnie, the first one, was a foster fail. And in COVID, everyone was like, let's foster. And we're fostering. Everybody's fostering.
Fostering
I was
a dog in COVID would make me fall in love.
It was the only thing to do.
Yeah.
What else are we doing?
Right.
And I did it, and I immediately was like, oh, obviously I'm not giving her up. And I remember LaBelle had somebody already adopted her and was like, hey, we're picking her up in a week. And I was like, no, you're not. And they were like, wait, she's been adopted. We have to. I'm like, I'll fucking fight. I will fight you. You're not. You're never getting this. And they were like, okay, we
don't
totally
want to
get it.
badly.
You're going to love her. It's all fine.
Yeah.
And I kept her. And then Wilbur, the second one, I adopted him a year later. It was again, I was like, let's foster and just help this little one. He needs love. And he was this runt of the litter, scared little puppy in the back. Aww. And of course, 2 days in, I'm like, so this is our dog.
Right. The first day makes you see Christ himself. You're
course.
like, what did I do? What did I just bring into my house? This is crazy.
Fucking 20. I was 22. I'm why am I doing this? I have to work and I have a life and I have shit to do. And now I have 2 children basically running around the house, shitting everywhere. But it's so nice because of the life that I live, that I do work crazy hours and up and down and I have to go out and in and out, whatever. It's so nice that they have a friend if I ever have to leave them alone for 6 hours
so that's a
at
big
night.
Factor.
They have each other. I'm less panicky about it.
How long did they take to bond? Was your first dog pissed at you for a minute?
Yeah, she hated him. My boyfriend still likes to say that she's resentful and holds a grudge.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm afraid of.
Hated him. But then now she loves him and they're best friends and they hang out all the time. If one of them is getting groomed and the other one's in the house, she'll kind of feel weird.
Really?
They're definitely codependent now. But it'll still be if I give too much attention to Wilbur, the newest one, she'll go and take her stuffed animal and hide in the corner and suckle on it like a baby and pout.
Right.
Yeah. But they do love each other.
Okay, so you like having 2 dogs.
I do. I love it.
Thesis statement, you like it.
Yes. I'm also lucky though that I live with my boyfriend.
Right.
My boyfriend has an assistant who helps us out.
Oh my
so
God.
Much. I am very lucky. My parents are in Brentwood, 20 minutes away from us. They help me out. I'm lucky that I have all the help. If it was just me, if I was single, I'd kill myself.
No, during the day when it's just me,
it's so
I'm
hard.
Holy shit. And then my husband gets home and I'm like, thank you, Jesus.
Literally.
And it makes such a difference when you have zone defense rather than, or man on man rather than zone defense. But yeah, so I'm deciding. We don't know, fam, what'll happen. But so I know that meaning I looked at your Instagram, that you went on a plane yesterday.
Oh my God.
2 days ago?
That's so funny. Yes, yesterday.
Where'd you fly from?
Landed last night from New York.
Okay. And I saw that there was a man farting on
The
your
entire plane. Yeah. That's hilarious because it happened literally 12 hours ago.
So
love that you're asking.
This is important. This is journalism. So that's obviously one of the top 10 egregious crimes you can commit on a plane. Ever. But also on a plane.
On a plane. Dude, I was I first of all, Thanksgiving is fucking stressful for everybody. I'm with my entire family and family adjacent and my boyfriend's entire family. It's the craziest week of Thanksgiving. Hell.
Mm-hmm.
I love them dearly. They're my best friends. Love them. But by the end of it, I was tweaking out.
Totally. No, that's the thing is I always feel such a bitch when I'm just I love my family and I love my in-laws. I know it's annoying, but when I'm around my family, especially, I'm such a fucking bitch.
I'm the biggest bitch in the world.
I'm 16 years old in my
for
room.
real. I coined my mom this trip Monster.
Yeah, good.
And it's now become a whole bit. But I would be every other sentence I would say, I'd go, Monster, take a walk.
Yeah,
you can't say that.
Please.
Let's not talk about how this person is X, Y, and Z. Monster, go and take a walk.
Right.
And she'd have to go take a walk. It was I couldn't, my brothers and I too, again, 24. My brother who was with me in New York is 21. We're at a dinner table being like, fuck you, I hate you, punch you in the face. And I'm like, dude, why am I fucking 14 right now? And it's like, I can't. Anyways,
no, you're
so
like,
stressful.
I always get like that. Like, I'm in fucking therapy twice a week. Nothing can penetrate this iron dome. Like,
I can't.
I'm like, nothing anyone says can get to me. I'm like, I'm so self-realized.
And then immediately like back to 12.
One thing they say,
crazy.
I'm like fucking sent to the ceiling.
It's crazy.
I had a fight with my brother once that was so epic on Christmas Eve about the Kardashians. Truly. I was like, they're the voice of our generation. And he's like, they suck. It was a legitimate fight on Christmas Eve.
Oh, I had my middle brother's birthday last year or 2 years ago. We went to this really nice Italian restaurant in the Palisades. Whole family. I wish I knew the name, but I'm glad I don't because we're banned. Oh. So we're in this nice restaurant and my littlest brother and I are like besties, but he is so fucking stubborn and so annoying and so like can't be wrong.
That's
always is right. Yeah. I am that as well. Like I will say if you were like, oh, I went to this basketball game, then I'd be like, oh yeah, like they won 10-0, right? Not knowing anything. And I say it full confidence and you're like, no, they didn't win. I'm like, yeah, they did.
So are you in the middle of these brothers?
I'm the oldest.
Of course. No, you are such an oldest sister in that way. My sister spits facts. Like, I'm the youngest. My sister spits beliefs as if they're facts. And I just like, as the youngest, like, you're like, okay, you're sure. Like, I was born into your empire. You know what I mean? Like, I just go along with it. But then every once in a while, I'll be like, that is completely wrong.
Oh, no, it's horrible. And I'm such like okay, Google it.
Yeah, right.
And my mom is like, oh, like, and then she Googles it. She's like, you're not right. I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm the worst. Yes. And I'm self-aware. But my little brother is that too. And on the middle one's birthday, we got in a fight about, it was somebody random that we were talking about, some celebrity that I was like, that we were talking about had a drug problem.
Okay.
And it was a fight of that I was like, oh, like, it's not their fault. Like,
yeah,
it's a disease, blah, blah, blah. And this kid at the time was like 16 and is like, no, they're like still choosing it. And it's like such a normal debate to have. And it's such like a common thing to talk about. I think that there are truths to both. It is a disease, blah, blah, we can get 100%. Into it. But like, it's a normal thing. For some reason, I decided to go like balls to the wall as if we were talking about my best friend of like defending this random celebrity I've never met.
That was me and the Kardashians. You would have thought they gave me a kidney. One of them gave me I was like, no, you don't know what they've done for our generation, for body positivity. And he's like, they've had so much plastic surgery. I'm like, yeah, but they started.
You don't get it. No, literally. And then my brother on the other side was acting as if this person like killed his family.
Right.
We were like this.
Right.
Gets into a full screaming match. My mom takes my side. My dad takes my brother's side. They're fighting at each other now. And then the middle brother, the poor, sweet middle brother, Will, whose birthday it is just sitting there like, you guys, stop, you guys.
She's screaming. Like, so are we going to do cake soon or what?
The littlest storms out of the restaurant.
Genius.
And everyone's screaming. The whole restaurant is looking at us. Waiters are coming up to us. It's the whole thing. Storms back in to say one final like, well, you know what? And then I go,
something outside.
Fuck you. And I storm out. And then he's inside. And then the parents storm out behind us and it's just the middle. And it was like the craziest. And they literally, my dad, God bless him, so graciously tipped them so much motherfucking money to be like, I am so sorry for my disgraceful children. I was so disgraceful. We were disgraceful. And they were like, all right, like,
no, that'll bring it out. Like your siblings, like that's the thing is like they will always remember you as a child. You know what I mean? Like you can't change those dynamics. You're too far in. But it's very interesting that you're the oldest girl. I don't know if they were joking around about putting that in the DSM, but like they just recently, like there's been a lot of conversation about the oldest girl.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It's weird. It's nice, but yeah, there's definitely, I think, a massive sense of independence that I've had forever, and this kind of like parental mindset that I've adopted. Not anything against my parents; they were wonderful, but it was just like
you can't help
being the oldest. You can't help it. You kind of want to like protect and also destroy the little siblings.
No, thank you for saying that. No, that's so true. So if your brother, youngest or middle, is fighting with your parents, you have to get involved.
Oh, of course.
Right.
Always.
You're the mediator between.
I'm the mediator, but also like evil. It's also both of my parents are the most stubborn, can't be wrong, insane people. Like, and then they created 3 of us. Right. So I'm like, what do you expect?
No, it's so true.
But we all love each other. But we always joke that we would have the most popular reality show ever, because it's like if some of this shit was put into a movie, if that night, I'm not even telling you the half of it, of the story, was put into a movie, like you would be like, that's too unrealistic for a movie. You'd be like, this isn't fun because it's like not real enough. We're psycho.
We're psycho too. But I think the best families are
a little nuts.
One time, I'll tell you, I went to a dinner with a family that was not psycho. You could hear the forks hit the plate. Like they literally had nothing to talk about.
It's so boring.
Yeah, I was like, where's like the fighting? Where's the like bringing up each other's traumas and like history and all that bullshit?
I also think the funniest people in the world have a few screws loose. So it's like,
or siblings.
Agreed. One thing that's so nice about my family is whenever we're fighting crazy, my dad will always like say one little joke and then everybody's fucking laughing and then we all move on. Or like my little brother will like do something, just say one little funny thing or make fun of somebody in a really funny, like dark way. And we'll all just die of laughter. Like there's a humor aspect to it that I love. I love my family. It's crazy. Anyways, this whole fucking long-winded thing. I was in New York after Insanity being like, I'm finally going to get on a plane by myself. Because I was also staying in an apartment with my entire family. Ooh, there was like 7 of us in this apartment. And it was like, my brothers still have bunk beds.
Your boyfriend too?
My boyfriend and I are staying in a room. Parents. It was, and then aunt and uncle are like next door. It was like it was just so much. And I was like, I'm finally getting on a plane alone. I'm going to have a glass of wine, watch whatever children's movie I can find and pass out. And some motherfucker is fucking tooting and booting, ripping it every 10 seconds right next to my head. I'm like, what is happening? Why do you do that? Like, I get it. Sometimes you can't control it, but like, go then sit in the bathroom for an hour. Like, I don't give a shit.
Right.
Go take a shit. Like,
you feel the same way I feel, which is, you know that we're in this tin can.
It's a tin can in the sky.
Like, how much disrespect do you have for me that your fecal matter is now in my fucking nose and mouth?
And also, like, we're sitting this close away from me. I can go like this and touch 5 people if I want. I'm like, what is going on with you? It's go and fix it. Stop doing this. Also, because it's so loud on a plane, I feel like people like can just like,
because it's
and
like
not have any consequences,
totally.
You know? And I'm like, no, you're having consequences. There's one point, I put this on my story, but there was one point, like an hour in, it was so bad that I go, ew.
Good.
Like to try and like wave it away, but then like embarrass the person. To hope, because if I had you have to shame and I saw that, I would be like, oh my God. Like,
because you're a woman though. That's the thing. When I married my husband, it was a concept to him to like hold in your fart. He's not like a farty dude. Like he's not like farting and burping all the time, but like this is his home.
Men are like, you can kind of just do whatever.
Well, it was an interesting thing for him to realize that women hold it all the time.
All the time.
I'm like, we
have
made
a
up the
method to the
same
madness.
100%.
I'm like, you'll never see me fart. I've never farted in my life.
What I hate the most is a calculated fart or burp. When it's like you're pushing it out. You know what I mean?
Worst.
And I'm like, that was a blatant like fuck you.
Pushing it out. Like a leg lift in the sky.
What the hell was
that?
I was
so fucking angry about it the whole time. Also, like I want to eat. I want to enjoy. And I'm like, you're nasty.
Yeah.
You're a nasty
You're like,
person.
this was supposed to be like my solitude. This
Literally,
was
go
like my
stand in the corner and go like think about yourself. I was so upset.
I did not know, like my husband actually taught me or told me that planes do make it makes your gas situation worse, I guess.
Really?
Exactly. Really? Because we're women and we don't.
Like, that's never happened to me.
Me neither.
Because I know how to control myself.
Me too. I fucking bleed while talking to you. How about that? Like, relax. You can't hold in your fucking fart.
It's so ridiculous. I'm also like, go to the bathroom, bro. Like, your stomach is fucking telling you something. Like, get out of your fucking seat. Get off your ass. Stop just.
But that's like I poop in 2 seconds. I get the urge to poop and I poop and it takes as long as it did to pee. My husband's on the toilet for 9 hours.
Yeah, of course.
And he's like, oh, I still have to go. I'm like, you have that little communication with like your body that like you don't know that this is like you wait until the last second as a woman and you're like, okay,
I take it as my alone time when my boyfriend has to go do his thing.
Me
I'm
too.
like, oh, I get to watch a movie. I'm like, I'm gonna do a spa day.
You can watch fucking what's the longest movie in the world? Like Harry Potter Part 2 or something?
Yeah, the whole series.
No, you can literally you can do your taxes in that amount of time. You can do anything. It's unbelievable.
My least favorite thing though, just going off of what you said, is my boyfriend he's the best in the world. I will
let's
not
just
fart.
preface we love our significant
people, but
others.
It's like I will call him out every time. Like when we're snuggling, he'll never fart on me. That's disgusting. But if I can feel his stomach at all when we're snuggling and I feel him physically like push and then a toot comes out, I'm like, I know that that wasn't a oops. That
there was
was
intention
oh,
behind
I
that.
feel something up here, and I'm gonna push it as hard as I can to get it out, just to make it loud. I go, but it makes me laugh. I'm also like such a fucking sucker for fart jokes. Always like,
are you?
I
See,
can't.
that's
I
the
love
one
the
thing.
pull my finger. Like I'm such a child.
So I have 2 brothers, but you are 1 girl and 2 brothers.
Yeah.
So that's like the fart thing. My brothers think is hilarious. Like I think getting like scaring people is like my favorite. Like,
I love scaring people.
It makes me laugh so literally sitting here. Like I can fucking die.
I love it so much.
I love.
That's my favorite thing in the world.
So I'll be hiding in my fucking house like for an hour and a half, like waiting for my husband to get home. Like I go to the ends of the earth to scare this poor man. And like when he's like, okay, I'm gonna get you back. I'm like, no, you can't get me
you're
back.
not allowed to do that.
Yeah, absolutely not. But people getting scared is like my love language.
It's my favorite. I did one thing. It makes me cry of laughter thinking about it. So my boyfriend's mom had just a few years ago.
I'm sorry, you scaring your boyfriend's mom is already making me laugh. Okay.
She had just bought a house in Florida.
Yeah.
We were visiting them. And it was like they were staying in a rental and they were showing us their brand new house that was unfurnished and it was like still like under construction and getting shit done. And we were all downstairs and she was like, Andrew, I want to go show you like the room and this. And he wanted to see all the tiles like that I couldn't give less of a shit about. So I was like, well, I'll hang out with your dad. They go all the way upstairs and I'm like, oh, no. I'm going to go hide somewhere and wait and scare the bejesus out of him. His mom also is like, if we're in a car and we go over a speed bump, she's like, oh my God.
So
like
she's easily startled.
She's so spooked. She's the best and is like the easiest.
Oh,
like
fuck.
Her like going over a speed bump will make everybody else in the car's heart
she
drop.
and I can never meet. I love an easily scareable person.
But so I go upstairs and again, it's like this echoey house too, because it's all empty. And I hide behind like a sliver of a wall, like like a post almost.
Yeah.
I'm like holding my breath, squeeze, and I'm waiting for like 20 minutes. They're doing a whole tour of the upstairs, and I'm in the perfect location that they're like in. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a master bedroom almost that they'd come out, and I'm like behind this little thing, waiting.
Are the ones that take real devotion.
And I'm silent. I'm the quietest thing in the world. I think they think that we're outside because his dad was outside, like laying out.
What does the dad think you're doing?
I told him, I was like, stay outside. Don't say anything. I'm going to go scare the shit out of him.
He's in on it.
Yeah.
Okay,
and I go upstairs and I swear on my life, I hear them coming. I jump out and I go, Rah! Like so loud. And it's echoing. His mom goes, Wah! And screams. And then Andrew, he scares the bejesus out of her because she was ahead of him, shrieks and falls on the floor. And they're both screaming for like 5 minutes. And I'm uncontrollably laughing. And she's like, I'm gonna have a heart attack. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And as I'm trying to be like, wait, am I actually gonna give this woman a heart attack? I can't stop dying laughing. It's
I'm laughing just hearing this story. But that is the real fear. Now that our parents and our in-laws are of that age. Like,
because she was on the ground. She fell on the ground like this. And I'm like, I'm so sorry.
No, if you fall during a scare, then you really have me fucking, like, I lose my fucking mind about people getting scared.
She still will tell people, she's like, she almost killed me. Like,
okay, so back to, I want to talk about your siblings for a second. So your parents are both in entertainment,
yes,
and you are, but your brothers both are like, no thanks.
The middle one, who's 21, Will, he was always obsessed with sports growing up. And he played basketball forever and football, blah, 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 but he's not tall enough to actually like legitimately play it. But is that me?
No, that would be me.
Guess what I just got sent?
What?
My dog is this big, mind you.
Oh my God. Those are huge nuts. So, okay, so Charlotte we've been looking for like an hour for Charlotte's picture of her dog's balls.
My dog's balls.
Why do we need balls?
Why do we need them? So gross.
Like balls are so unnecessary.
They're so gross.
They're completely unnecessary.
I get it's like what makes life, but like
it's decoration.
There's like little, it's like a little.
You say I get it's what makes life. Oh yeah, true. Because the sperm is in there. Sure, but like
hold it somewhere else.
Yeah, hold it somewhere.
It is.
We're
it's
this
like an ornament.
Little
we don't want it.
Of like
it's like we're easy.
It's like a clutch purse.
Yeah, you guys are fucking swinging about.
Swinging shit. It's crazy. Okay, so sorry, your
brothers.
brother.
So Will, who's 21, he is obsessed with sports growing up. So he wants to be something in sports, like sports journalism or broadcasting or an agent. And the youngest one is like the little golden child. The middle one is fucking epic, and he's also a golden child. We love him forever. But the youngest one is like,
no, the youngest is, sorry, I hate to say
the
it.
youngest
I'm
is
the
always
youngest.
a golden.
It's
the golden child.
Because the thing about the youngest, which you can take credit for, it's like you are an amalgamation of all the older siblings too. It's not like you're just raised by your parents. Like you're raised by all your older siblings. So you have like pieces of them too.
I agree. But he is like was captain of the debate team, and then now he's captain of the water polo team, and he's like just won like MVP and all state in water polo, and he's just like fucking killing it. And we have high expectations for him because he has high expectations for himself. And the middle one went to NYU, but is like kind of doesn't give a shit about school.
Yeah.
I didn't go to college. I didn't even graduate high school, which is so horrible.
Love that. Who the fuck cares?
Who the fuck cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
Don't bore me with it. Like,
but for my dad's birthday, I'm gonna get him pass my GED.
Are you really? Oh my god, like you should. I
don't
like, know.
I'll do it.
I don't know what goes into that. I feel like it's like harder than like normal school.
It's definitely harder than I think it is. I'm like, yeah, I'll just like walk in and take a test and it'll be fine. And I'm like, I'm definitely gonna fucking fail it if I don't try and study.
Vlog that shit. I'm like very interested. I'm invested.
I don't know how much I can talk about it, but my dad is making a TV show right now with Steve Carell.
Amazing.
And it's so amazing. It's so funny. I don't think there's any information out about it yet, so I'm not going to say any details, but there's a character in it that is kind of reminiscent of Henry.
Oh my God, I love that.
Of the like water polo, like fucking blonde, like whatever dude, like bro dude in it.
I love
and
that.
Henry recently is like, yeah, so that's me, and I'm an audition for it, and you're giving me the part. My dad's
fucking
like, no.
genius.
My dad's like, no. You're going to fucking college. We're not having another one of these.
Right.
Not happening. He's like, yeah, no, whatever. I'll audition for the other people that's not you, and then like they'll give me the part. And I'm like, Henry. Like, we're not doing it. We're not doing it.
I'm sorry. That is like what that's our MO. Like we are constantly like my sister will be like, oh, so like I did this. And I'm like, well, dad didn't let me do that. Mom didn't let me do that. Like that's just like your MO. Like you're just like whatever the older kids have or like ever have had or whatever.
He's like, well, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
My dad also, though, he's good about this stuff. He said to Henry, he's like, if you actually wanted to be an actor, like, go study it in college. Go to acting class. Like, fucking hone in on your craft. Dive the fuck in. Like, I'm not giving you any favors. Like, as much as I love you, I also love what I do, and I'm not ruining a TV show just to give my child, like, a role. So, like, if you fucking work your ass off and really kill it and eventually want to do something, and if you're right for the role, hell yeah. Like,
totally.
Fucking awesome. But we're not doing this just like freebie.
Right.
So, and Henry understands that. He knows like work ethic, but I'm nervous because I'm like, no, Henry's going to be like a CEO of a huge company and like make $1 billion. And he's like, no, I'm going to be an actor. I'm like, no,
okay,
please.
so how did that conversation go with you? Because you're on Bad Monkey, right?
Yes.
Or you have been, and your music's on there. So like, how did that conversation, how was that different? Like, how did like that go for you?
I think the difference is that I've always loved music. It's my number one. It's my biggest thing. It's my heart and soul, and it's something that I'll do forever. And I would do it whether I ever got paid or not. It's just like true passion. But obviously, I love that I can do it for my job.
Hell yeah.
Very grateful. But with acting, I was always like a musical theater kid growing up, and was really into it and obsessed with this type of different style of performance versus music. That it's like you're really expressing your emotion through like a physical visual thing versus just
acting,
spoken word. Yeah, and acting. And it was so enticing to me always, but I kind of avoided it for so long because it was my parents' world. And I think being like 16 and really independent and wanting to kind of make my own path for myself, I had this ego that was like, I have to do something completely separate from my parents. And I was so lucky I had this passion of music that like I think I feel like I'm the luckiest person in the world to have a passion. I know a lot of people that don't have a passion like that, and I just feel so lucky that I'm like had something that I just loved forever.
Especially in your 20s, because that's when you feel like, God damn it, why haven't I been like playing the flute since I was, you know? Yeah.
I still am like, why didn't I take like guitar lessons from like 5?
Of
and
course.
like I could be able to rip now. Like,
of course.
Ugh. But anyways, with acting, I always avoided it because even though I loved it, I was like, that's my parents' world. I need to do something separate and like prove myself to myself. Just like make my own path. And then I grew older and I was like, you know what? No, like I love this so much and I have this passion, and just because it's my parents' industry doesn't mean like I shouldn't be able to try and pursue it. Obviously, like I have such a one-up and I have so many advantages because of who my parents are. I'm the luckiest motherfucker in the world that I wanted to do it. I felt I wanted to do it. So then I had a million opportunities to do it. I had a million doors open for me.
Yeah.
And not anybody has that.
Totally.
And I recognize that. But my thing about that specifically is like, how dumb would I be to not take advantage of that
150%.
when I love it so much? And just because I have the advantages doesn't mean I have to work any less hard. I mean, it means that, again, doors are open, but just because a door is open, you know, you still have to get yourself through it. So,
and they compare you to the greatest of the great.
They want you to,
right?
They expect failure before.
Yeah.
For people, I think the world, if you have connections the way and you got the job handed to you versus like having to fucking really struggle hard to get it. I think people expect that you're not good at it, which I honestly understand. But I loved it so much. And I was getting a bunch of texts from my friends that are actresses that are like my age, my look, my vibe, being like, oh, I just auditioned for your dad's show. And I was like, what the fuck are these girls auditioning for that I don't know about? Like, what's going on here? And I, at the time, was living, my roommate was my dad's assistant, who was my nanny growing up. And then, like, she's just the best. And one of my best friends, she's like family, and we were living together. And I was like, what is this? And she, being the champion that she is, was like, holy fuck, this should be you. Obviously, with your dad writing it, like a lot of the mannerisms are probably based on you. Like it's so, you really should audition for this. I'm going to help you out. Like, let's figure this out. And I didn't tell my dad, and she got all the script and all the information, whatever, and read with me 1.5 million times. Before we like sent in tapes, I went to an acting class and I saw a coach, this guy, Anthony Mindell, who's wonderful. And we just like tried to work as hard as I could on it in a short amount of time because I was like, just found out about this. I don't know fucking shit. I have no experiences under my belt.
Well, you want to prep.
I'm just gonna like try to do the most that I can before this. And did auditions. And then I told Brittany, my roommate, dad's assistant, whatever, I was like, I want them to see it, but like I also want the fun surprise bit of it to just like slide it in there, but make sure that they see it. Like I don't want to get lost in the sauce, but slide it in there. And it was shown to my dad in a top 10 thing, which was awesome. I don't know. I can't 100% say like they didn't know that it was me, blah, blah.
Right.
But I know that it was handed to my dad, and it wasn't like oh, your daughter did it. It was like he was in a room full of like writers and producers watching like the top 10 girls for the thing. And I came on and he was like, calls me, goes, what the fuck is this? And like, what is it? What? All the writers are like dying laughing behind him. Like, and then we had a really serious talk and he was like, okay, here's the thing. You're honestly very great for this role. You look the part, you can act the part, you understand the role, you have the humor behind it. Like you can do it. And you already have a following on your own that like it's enticing to Apple to have somebody that has a platform already. He's like, it makes sense. But if I give you this role, it has to be your only priority for the entire time that we shoot it and the entire time that we do press. It has to be the only thing that matters. You have to work harder than anybody else on set. And you have to understand that if we finish this, if you work your ass off and it's gruesome and we finish it completely and I'm in an editing room and you're not good, you're edited out and you're done. And he's like, you have to understand I'm not going to jeopardize my show for you. You have to know this before we go into it. And if you're truly down, like, then let's roll. And I was like, I understand and I'll do it. I'll take fucking acting classes every second that we're not shooting. I will be the most prepared on set. I will know all my lines. I will never be late. I will kill it for you. And I'll also understand I will not have expectations of like making it in the final cut. I'll understand that if it's not good enough that it'll be out.
Right.
And then I had to like prove myself to Apple. I had to do like 6 different tapes for them to be like, I promise I can do it. Like, please let me do it.
Yeah.
And then, I did it. And that was the first ever gig I did. And it's fucking a massive gig, a huge Apple show. It's like, how lucky am I? It's so sick. And since then I just caught the bug on such a level and I've been auditioning as much as I can. I did a little short movie and a TV show a little bit ago. And I just like, I love it. And I think that we're in a day and age that you can kind of do whatever you want and all these worlds can coincide.
Totally. You don't have to pick one lane.
No. And I'm like, I'm young and I don't have kids and I'm like still agile and I'm the hottest I'll ever be. And I'm like, why not fucking do everything that I want to do and like exercise these passions that I have? I have the ability to. I have the drive for it and I have the opportunities. So I'm like, I'm going to go balls to the wall and do it.
No, I appreciate that. I knew that there was this like angst in like actors, singers, whatever. I know that like nepotism has always had a moment, but there's a lot of like angst and anger about it.
Yeah.
But I think that's really telling because it is like they want to hate you. Like I wanted to hate her, but because she's such and such kid, but I don't.
But I was
like,
proven wrong today.
Right. And that is really the energy I think it is. It's like you have to prove people wrong from the jump. And so it's hard to balance the acknowledgement and the apologizing for it.
I get it. And there is a part of me that's like, I don't want to have to keep apologizing for what I was born into, because how can I be sorry for something that I didn't control and that I feel so lucky for? But I think that it's important to acknowledge it. I feel like people get the most angry when nepotism babies have the sort of mindset of like, no, everything I have right now is because of me, completely me on my own, period. Like I got no help, like blah, blah, blah. I think if you just like kind of acknowledge where you came from and like even people I think in the industry that were born into a lot of money have already such a leg up. Like there are so many musicians. There's fucking millions of the most beautiful voices you've ever heard in your entire life that'll never get their light of day because they don't have enough money to travel out of the city that they live in. It's like, it's sad. And that's why I have so much empathy for the people that hate on me for where I come from and other nepotism kids. Cause like, there is an aspect of like, fuck, dude.
I'd
like,
be frustrated too.
How do you and I have the same fucking talents?
Yeah.
This kid is probably even more talented than fucking I am. Why do I get to grow up with every dream that I have to be an actual possibility that I can literally try and do anything I want to do, and this kid like will never get that chance. If I was that kid, I would be like, oh fuck you for getting everything handed to you, and like fuck that. There just is a level of like, okay, what do you want me to do about it? Like I'm so grateful for what I have. I recognize what I have.
I'll shout it from the mountaintops.
I'll shout it. Yes. I'm like the luckiest motherfucker alive. I was dealt such a fucking beautiful deck of cards. But again, like it'd be so dumb. Two things can be true at once. And if you, kid from Milwaukee, were me and had the passions that we both have, like would you go, oh, I can't take advantage of these things because I like blah, blah, blah. No, you'd be like, oh, I'm going to fucking take the most advantages I can of this and work my ass off. And like, I also do think though, the truth of the matter is because of who my parents are, I can get a meeting with anybody.
Yes.
The doors can be opened on such a level. I can get meetings. I have all these opportunities. I have so many leg ups, but like if they get me a meeting and I go into the meeting and I like fuck it up, or the dude doesn't vibe with me, or he doesn't think I'm talented, or he doesn't like my music, or he doesn't think I'm right for the role, like I'm not getting hired. No. Like there still is a level of like I have the leg up, but it's not as much of like this was given to you, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I don't know enough of it yet.
But I think like you're acknowledging, like, you have to work really hard as if you're like one of those kids, but you can't deny that like your tape gets seen because, whatever.
Yes, of course.
And I feel the same way.
There's probably 100 missing tapes that like could have gotten the part and didn't.
Completely. And I think it's an interesting conversation because I feel much the way that you do. And I'm like, even with this show, like I've never used my like connection, so to speak, to like get a guest. But sure, if they see my last name on there, that could be
it's like an immediate, oh.
Totally. She's safe. She's like, whatever. So I can't just go around town being like, I've never had to use a connection to get a guest. That's just denying, the truth.
I do think it's interesting. I also like, why not be open about it?
Yeah, and we're not like poor us. Like, I think that's the thing where people make the mistake is they're like, but I had to work twice as hard to get in.
It's not like, real.
It's not true. It's just not, you may have had to work really hard, but like, your shit is seen before people that don't have the connections.
Agreed.
Period. It's just interesting when people are so hell-bent on making themselves feel worthy, but it's like, yes, you can be worthy and have had it help.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You can be a talented person, and if you weren't born into the life that you were born into, still deserve the role 100%. That you did, but only got it because of the way that you were. I'm like, as much as I can go in circles about Bad Monkey, like you will never catch me being like, oh no, I got it completely on my own. What are you talking about? I'm like, no, my dad is the fucking showrunner. Yeah. And like wrote the show. Obviously, I got it because of that. But then again, where my confidence comes in is I go, watch the show. I was really good in it. And I worked my fucking ass off and I killed it. And I think I really like did Caitlyn justice. And I have that confidence in myself. I'm like, yeah, I was given that role. And like, I have so many leg ups. And there are probably thousands of girls that could have murdered that role and that didn't get the chance of it because I got it. I understand that. And I'm really fucking sorry.
Valid.
I know that I did well, and
100%.
I'm proud of
I
the way I did
love
it.
that. No, I think that's a really great way to put it. Yes, and.
Yes, and
You know what I
bitch.
mean? Yeah. But yeah, no, I think that's interesting because I feel like there's just so much conversation about it and people want you to apologize to like a point that'll make them comfortable. And it's like, there's no amount of apologizing I can ever do or acknowledging that like will satisfy that itch.
Yeah,
so
I
like
know.
you can say it once and like.
You also, it's like people will get mad at you no matter what you say. It's just like it's just such like a weird, sensitive subject. There's also in other areas of life, other businesses, there's so much nepotism. I also believe that there is a huge aspect of genetics. Like I am born to a writer and an actress, like two deeply creative people. I inherited my songwriting abilities and my love for writing from my father. I inherited my love for acting and performing from my mother, and like this urge to express emotions through art. Like I feel like I got from them. And since I was out of the womb, there's videos of me at 2 years old, like singing and dancing and performing. And I think kids that are born from two mathematicians have an affinity to math, maybe, or maybe they don't. But like it would not be surprising to me if that kid grew up and was like, ooh, like I love this and I love this and I want to go into this weird math field. Like, I don't know. I'm like,
and also showbiz parents are some of the most lethal.
Agreed. And I feel so lucky that my parents were like normal and kind. And
yeah, my parents are so normal and so kind, but they will tell me if that sucked or if like this was good, this was bad.
All the time. My parents will tell me if my shit stinks.
Oh, me
They're
too.
not afraid to. But I respect it because then if they tell me that they like something, I know it's true. It's like, I'm like,
I know. You're proud of me? What? I'm like, oh, my trauma is suddenly resolved.
Yeah. I love, he is such an angel, and he reads my self-tapes with me because, again, I'm so new to this. He is on the other side of it. He knows what writers, casting directors, whatever, are looking for. He's literally the best fucking person in the world to like do a self-tape with. And I'm so lucky. A lot of times I'll do it with friends or stuff. Like I've had roles that are like, I have to be like, oh, come and like, do you want to come and kiss me?
They're going to say like, come inside me. I'm like, that would be
literally.
scarier.
And I'm like, Dad, I love you. Like we're never doing this together. And I'll do it with my like girlfriend stuff. Obviously.
No, my dad will call me after listening to an episode of the show. He's like, what are you thinking? Talking about sex. He's like, we're Italian Catholic. What's going on? I'm like, sorry. You listened to 5 seconds of an interview where I say fuck 90% of the time. I'm sorry.
My dad, it's funny though. He knows how to separate work from personal. And I remember being on the set of Bad Monkey that I was joking with Meredith Hagner, who plays my stepmom in it, at a funeral. And like, we were just like, going back and forth doing the script, and my dad shouted out, and he goes, Meredith, tell Charlotte you can see her vagina, because I was wearing like a tiny short skirt, and she was like, and I was like, that's so weird for my dad to yell. And she said it, and then it made it in the show, and it's like a hilarious little line.
Genius.
But
he knows what he's doing.
He can separate it, but still there's like a level that I'm like, we'll never do a self-tape that I have to like flirt with you. And like that's never gonna happen. It's disgusting. But anyways, he does my fucking self-tapes with me, and he's the best person to do it ever. But I have so much fucking footage on my phone of me being like, yeah, and then I went to and he's like, no, Charlotte, that was fucking horrible. Why'd you make that weird face when you did that? That was horrible. That was bad acting. Do it again. And I'm like, and you see me viscerally be like,
no,
okay.
It's intense.
It's intense.
He's
so like, ew,
intense.
that was so bad. That was unfunny. You're not funny. That was not funny. Do it again. I'm like,
okay, so let's talk about heartbreak, because you sing a lot about it, right? Like it's
my muse.
It is your muse, truly. And so you're in a relationship now.
Yes.
I listened to Collateral a few times, and I was like, damn, like very rarely is there a song written about the person that's doing the breaking up with. And that's kind of that in that spirit, right?
Yeah.
So like you fall head over heels for this person, and then you're like, wait, actually, no? Is that the vibe? Like
it's like, well, so I think the beauty of music is that it can be interpreted by everybody in a completely different way.
What
I think
inspired you?
I'll tell you what inspired me. But like, I'm happy hearing that that's where your heart kind of went is so interesting to hear to me, because like there is an aspect of that, and the broad feeling of it is there. But to me, it's like when you break up with somebody, or when something happens, whether it's like a relationship breakup or friend breakup or a family thing or whatever, whenever something implodes and ends, your first feeling, I think it's just human nature, is towards yourself. And it's like self-pity or just like sadness or heartbreak or whatever happened. It's just like you feel that pain, and that's what your brain focuses on. And I think eventually, as time unravels, whether it be like a day or a year, you start to also recognize the other people that were involved. And I mean, I think that's just empathy is like a lot of times also I've felt in the past like so much worse breaking up with somebody than I have being broken up with.
Well,
it's like
that I think is the age old question. That's what I want to know from you.
It's like kills you.
What do you think is worse? Being
I
broken
think
up with? I
breaking
think
up with
so
somebody.
too, because then you're like, okay, if I post that I'm having drinks on Instagram, then I look like the dick because I broke up with them.
It's just like heart-wrenching. I just think breaking somebody's heart is like, and being responsible for the sadness of another person that was purposefully done, even if it's not on purpose, if it's just meant to be. It's like you're still doing this. You're physically breaking somebody's heart.
And you are the villain in someone's story, and their family thinks like, whatever. Yeah,
it's just like kills. I've gotten in trouble when I was younger of like not knowing how to break up with somebody, that I've just like kept it going for so long just in hopes that they break up with me. And like when I was 16, like, oh my God, I would cheat, I would like lie or act crazy. Like I was a fucking crazy child, but I just like wanted to avoid the feeling of breaking someone's heart so badly that I would therefore break it worse by like lying and doing crazy shit.
Right.
But anyways, Collateral is like, went through this thing and just felt this like deep sadness for myself. And like, it took me a second to understand that the other people involved were also really hurt and that it was my doing and that I wasn't just this victim, that I like hurt somebody. And I like, I don't know how they felt, but like in my perception of it, broke an aspect of their heart and like, and ruined their day and just did something bad. And I just had this, like, I was able to feel this guilt that I hadn't felt for so long because I was in such like this was done to me and I feel so sad and I'm so bummed and like this happened to me. So I'm going to like wallow in self-pity. And it just took me a second to really be like, oh wait, but yes, both things can be true. I can feel sad for myself and feel heartbroken and feel angry.
No, I think that's
and
so
also
real.
Feel like really guilty. And I felt just so, I was like allowed myself to have that guilt.
No, I think that's really real. And I feel like that you're coming onto it earlier than I did, because I feel like, you know, you go through therapy or you don't, or you just go through like your 20s and teens and you're like, this happened to me, so I'm this way. This happened to me, whether it's like you just have this, you know, not self-centered, that's too harsh, but it's just like you just think like things are happening to you because you don't feel powerful in the situation. You feel powerless to whatever's happened to you. And then I think there comes a point where you're like I always say, like, what's your 10%? Whether you were triggered by that person, like what was your 10%? What part can you own in whatever suffering you've gone through, you know? Yeah. And sometimes there's zero, like sometimes in abuse and all that stuff, sure. But I think it's like really empowering almost to be able to be like, yeah, like other people were suffering, like when I was suffering, and like maybe I had a hand in my own suffering or other people's, you know, it's a really empowering thing.
I agree. I also, I think it's, I'm proud of myself for, as I've gotten older through therapy and just life experiences, that I've been able to kind of harness the self-awareness I didn't have as a kid and understand, like really understand my wrongdoings and mistakes that I've made to mistreat people. Yeah, but it's like, I'm never a malicious person. You'll never see me hurting somebody on purpose. But like, there's been so many times that I've made mistakes that have hurt other people.
But that's
the downfall that I've like.
But the fact that you say, I'm not a malicious person, but I know I might have hurt someone. I think that's the knowing you want to get to, which is like, I know that was never my intention, but I
still did it. Totally. And I'm so sorry, you know? And there also, I think, I really wanted to write this song too, to not, without any excuses. Cause like, it's so easy to be like, yeah, I hurt you, but like, you did this and this and this, and like, but you also were this, and like, yeah, I hurt you, but like, this doesn't matter. And I just wanted to write the song to be like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like, I fucking hurt you. Like,
just sit
and I didn't acknowledge it at all. And I was lost in this other situation that was so painful that I didn't have even the mental bandwidth to like acknowledge that you were also involved in it and you were also hurt by it.
Because you're also forgiving yourself at that point. So that reminds me of a question I wanted to ask you, which is, what age of yours are you most embarrassed is too light. Like, I think like most ashamed of, like what age were you acting the least like yourself?
I so fucking cliche, but like, I really think everything that I have today and the beautiful life that I have today and the wit and humor and just like knowledge that I have would not at all be there without all of my fuck ups and like horrid mistakes and all the shit that I've done in the past.
But you got to cringe at 1 year.
But the other part of it is that I have the memory of a goldfish.
God bless you.
Oh my God. I'm like, please don't ever get it right. I think it's because I was such a stoner for a while that like, I almost 2 years, like no weed.
way.
I know. And I'm like, one day, if I ever feel truly comfortable in the fact that I can just like have a joint every now and then, or like before bed or this or that, like I'll do it again. But I don't want it right now. So I'm just like, let me just ride this out as much as I can go.
That was like me and like benzos. Like I like with Xanax, like when I was first prescribed, I was like, okay, I guess this is how people with anxiety like
Can
navigate the
function. Yeah.
world. Like I was very unclear. Like the instructions, put it that way, for like when to take it. They were like, take it whenever you're anxious. I'm like, I'm
You're
fucking
like, right
anxious
now?
doing
8
everything.
a.m.? Yeah.
Right. So I was like, you know, and so that period of time in my life, like I look back on texts and I'm like, that doesn't sound like me.
Yeah.
Like this sounds like that.
Well, you weren't you.
I wasn't me.
You were like
And I think
medicated.
that hurts the most is
Yeah.
when you're like, you don't even resemble like you.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing to fuck up when you're you, and it's one thing to fuck up when you're like,
When
not
you're like,
you.
I don't recognize this person.
Mhm.
Yeah, then my answer would be the when I was a stoner. I always smoked weed but was always chill about it.
Yeah.
And was like, could be a social smoker, party smoker, go to bed, whatever. Like it wasn't attacking my life. And then COVID happened and I loved weed already, that I was like, okay, we're not doing anything. No one's working. No one's doing fucking anything. I should just hit my bong all day, all night, every day.
So
every
glad
day.
you're giving representation to the bong girlies of America.
Illadelph forever.
I threw out my bong when I moved into this house.
Thank God. Mine, I can't even, mine was smashed. I got so addicted. I also hate that people are like, you can't get addicted to weed.
No,
I'm
you
like,
for sure
yes, you can. And I was, and like, shut the fuck up. Even if it's not chemically addictive, the feeling of it is like,
Totally.
it's the same thing as like, yes, the chemicals of Xanax are addictive,
Mhm.
but the feeling of being numbed out and calm and like serene is something that people go, oh, I need more of that. I need more of that. I need
100%.
more of that. And it's the same with weed, whether it's chemical or not.
Yeah.
But I became such a stoner, and it just like, it completely destroyed my life for the time being. I had no drive. I had no memory. I would wake up and stay in bed all day. I was so depressed and so anxious. And I thought that was just who I was in general. So then I would smoke weed to like numb it out and feel better. And then the second I quit, I was like, oh, no. The constant weed was making me anxious.
100%.
And the come down of the weed, I would get anxious and then I'd have to smoke more of it. And it was like just the cycle that I was on. And I don't even remember like periods of my life. I also,
oh my
it's
God,
like,
me neither. And that's
I'm
the
like,
worst part, because you're like, no, it literally feels like when you've blacked out at like night drinking with yourself and you're asking,
you're like,
but you don't want
what
to
did I
ask
do?
anyone what happened, but sometimes they'll be like, oh, remember when you did this with me? And you're like, no,
not at all.
Like not at all. And I'm like so scared that was a bad memory. Like, you know what I mean? You're just like caught with your pants down. Like it feels like you're just not responsible for that version of you.
I agree.
But like other people don't get that. So you're like left with these memories and like, you're like, how much of that person is me? It's awful. It's really awful.
It's freaky. It's like, but it's funny because I don't regret it per se.
No, me neither.
And my experiences during that time, like, gave me so many, and stuff that happened that happened to me and that I also did, and everything has given me so much grace in my life today, and so many songs that I love, and like I'm just grateful for that time. But the only thing that in the world that I would be like, fuck, I wish I did this differently, is I wish I used that time of my life, COVID and all that 2.5 year period that was like so fucking insane to even talk about, to really hone into my art and my craft and make a million albums and work my fucking ass off and like take the time to myself to hustle versus just being a stoner and being lazy. I'm like, I'm making up for lost time now, and I'm trying my best, and I'm hustling harder than I ever have today, and I'm like making up for it. But like, fuck, I was 19, like should have fucking, I wish I did it then.
No, I feel the same way, because I was just running away from everything.
Yeah.
So if I smelled like obligation or like I had to do something,
nope.
I was trying to make every excuse like to not do it. And I'm like so embarrassed of that person, because that's just so not who I am today.
Me too. And I hate people that knew me in that time, that only know me in that time.
I hate it.
I know.
They're like, remember 2017?
I'm like, no, never.
Actually, no, and I don't want to talk about it and like just hide forever. Like I can't deal.
You're like, who?
No, literally who. So when are you nowadays most frustrated with yourself?
I have a real problem when I feel like I'm not working hard enough, and it's so dumb. And I'm self-aware enough and therapized enough to recognize that I'm being dumb, that like, oh, if I hustle my ass off for X amount of days, like I'm allowed to fucking chill for a weekend, or like I was allowed to take a break over Thanksgiving week and like do nothing and hang with my family and veg out. Like I can recognize that mentally. But I have this weird thing. I think it's because of everything we talked about.
Yeah.
Because I didn't for so long that I like I'm so quick to beat myself up over it. And if I have I also am somebody like, if I have a full day of things in my calendar that I have to do, I'm gonna kill every single one of them and murder it and then do 10 times more. But if I have a day that there's nothing in my calendar, like my natural instinct is like, okay, what am I supposed to do? And instead of like, oh, I'll go work out today. I'll go get a facial. I'll go do chores and errands that I haven't done. Like I will just sit and spiral about how I'm not working. And then everyone's around me is like, cut yourself some fucking slack.
You're
bro.
like, no, I literally, physically, emotionally, spiritually cannot. No, I know.
Do you know what helped me though? I saw something. It was so a little thing that I was like, oh, because I always would be like, you're fucking lazy fuck, lazy fuck. I saw something that was like, I wish I knew the quote. I should have written it down. But it was like, the difference between a lazy person and a not lazy person is a lazy person is happy and feels comfortable and relaxed doing nothing always and forever. A non-lazy person is the one that is like freaking out over it, and it's like it's a different thing. I forget what they said. The quote was much better than what I'm saying, but I was like, okay, I'm not lazy because I care.
What I do, like my coping mechanism in life is getting in bed. Like that's why the podcast is called this. Of course. That I retreat to bed. It's like where I feel like I can hide from the world.
Was in bed until noon today.
Okay, I love that so much about you. So, but what happens is that because I've been like on benzos and like in bed and like use that as a real like hiding place, now when I do it to just like have self-care, I'm like, I have to be like, Jade, you're in bed for a day. It's not for life. Or like, I'm scared my depression's going to act up and I'm going to be in there forever. I'm like, Jade, this is what R&R is. Like, we need to learn to have like a healthy relationship, but it's really hard. I know. I feel
and then you like end up not being able to even enjoy the time that you do get in the bed.
Not
because you're just stressing that it's going to be like that forever. I'm the same motherfucking way. It's so weird.
Tell me about this new album as we wrap up. So like, is the new album coming out? What's going on? Like,
yes, I finished it a while ago. I am an independent artist right now.
Amazing.
And it's so wonderful in so many ways. It's also really hard it used to be much different, that you could just make music and then perform it and then sign with somebody and then they put it to radio and then it's this and that. And it's a good song was a good song and it would have shined whatever.
Yeah.
Whenever it would be. Nowadays, it's like, I could talk about this for hours, so I'll just very shorten it up. Nowadays, it's just a whole different world with social media and with TikTok especially, and with streaming, and just you don't know. Nobody fucking knows what a hit is. Nobody knows what's gonna work, what's not. I've heard some of the best fucking songs in the entire world that are a fart in the wind. Like it is what it is, and it's a hard world, and I'm right now kind of battling between this. On one side, I feel precious about the music that I've made, this album that I made. I'm so proud of it, and I made a lot of it with Ben Gibbard of Death Cab for Cutie, who's like the best, and he's such an idol of mine, and he's just the most talented, and like the music is so fucking great, and I'm so proud of it, and I have this feeling of like, oh, I love it so much, and versus the other side of like, I don't want to be too precious about it because I'm gonna write music forever. I already have a fucking half of another album done and ready to go. It's gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep getting better. In 5 years, I'm gonna be like, that album was horrible. Like, oh my God, don't listen to it. Like, this is the best one. Now I found my son. Whatever. And the whole point of me saying this is it's hard because I don't want to release this album on deaf ears. I really do need to get momentum and find like my stride on a social media type of level and strategy and marketing and all the stuff before I like release it out. But yeah, it's just a battle. I'm like, should I just fucking put it out and say fuck it and promote it and do it? Or do I like wait until there's like a spark and then I can ignite the spark and go to fire? Or do I sign with another label right now? Or do I not and just try to stay independent? Because if something works when you're independent, so I'm in a really weird kind of.
I totally get it. Like, I'm independent with this show now, and it's like it's really hard. It's 10 times better, but it's also
hard. It's hard to also be your own marketer. It's like, I have the best managers in the entire world. literally in the entire world.
Yeah.
I have such a beautiful team around me, but like we're not a label. Like, so it's hard.
Right.
And I work with STEM, who's a distributor. It's amazing. They're amazing. Everybody's amazing. But it's hard. It's like, there is an aspect of having like a huge marketing team and people that their whole lives are devoted to these like business strategies and all the shit that I'll never understand. Like, that's important. So I don't know.
But it's hard because you're the gas and the brake.
Yes.
You know, so you like if you don't do anything, nothing's happening.
No, agreed.
It's too much power, but like all the power that you want, you know? And it's like you can get really heady about like when's the right time, like because you don't have like a label pushing you to do it, right? Like when I first started the show, like I had to meet a quota.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh,
you're like, oh, it's up to me.
I get to make it up, you know? Yeah. So it is hard. Okay, so stay tuned. The music's coming.
It is coming. And we have a set plan for it to come out and stuff. I just like, I'm in the, my whole point of my spiel was like, I'm in the stages of figuring out how I want to put it out into the world. If I want to say, fuck it and put it out and then tour the shit out of it and go old school and like fucking go around the country in a van and perform it every single night and murder it and exhaust it. Or if I want to like, I don't know, sign to a label and do a whole thing and figure it out. But I love the music and it's going to come out regardless.
Okay, I can't wait.
I'm just like, it's just a weird world. Nobody knows how to do anything nowadays.
Totally. Well, thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
we are
for letting
done.
me come on.
Thank you, guys.
I'm like, we talked about just farts and...
Hello.
I love it.
Hello.